Amphoreus. I really wanted to like it. It was very well hyped, and I was expecting it to be much more unique, much more better than, Penacony, than the Cienjo. And it was a huge disappointment, I would say. This is just my opinion though. Um, I know Amphoreus is inspired from Greek, and I love the Greek culture. The I've played Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's one of my favorite Assassin's Creed because it's simply Greek, and I love the Percy Jackson series. I have read Greek stuff on Wikipedia, on Google, on my own. I've read the actual stuff. So overall, I like the mythology that they have there, and Amphoreus takes inspiration from the Greek mythology, but it just didn't give me that same vibe that I got when I played Odyssey or when I read Percy Jackson. I did not feel that connection. Now maybe it's because they changed up the names. There's no Aphrodite, there's no Hades, there's no Demeter or what was his name? Poseidon, Zeus, anything. There is one side quest though, which has it kind of has Greek mythology, where there's Persephone and Hades with a Z, and there's Hecate and all. So it's kind of a fun stuff. It's in the world quest, it's in the side missions. But the main quest, it didn't capture my interest like Penacony did. I mean, Penacony's first act was amazing. I loved it. The land, the story, the land of dreams, the dreamscape, the animations, cutscenes, the world. It was good. It was very good. And it wasn't much of a low dump, at least in 2.0. In 2.1 and 2.2 and then 2.3, we all know how Penacony went with the excessive dialogues and all, but initially it was great. But Amphoreus is it's like an 8 to 9 hour prologue that overstays its welcome. I think it should have been around the 5 to 6 hour mark, and it would have been nice. It would have been concise. It would have been okay, because there's so much stuff that I don't know, they just tried to fit in, and it's a very straightforward story, though it's not very complicated like Penacony. You do not have terms going in and out. You have proper explanations for everything, and the game, the main story, actually tells you that this is this is that, so you cannot get confused unless you blindly skip everything and don't pay attention and all. The story isn't bad. The story is not bad, but the way that a story should grasp your attention, should take hold of it, that was missing. I had to focus myself many times during scenes to focus, what they're saying. Oh, this is what is happening. And I think that's mostly because of the static emotions and images that are presented when the dialogue is running. You can have the most top tier voice acting, but if there is no animation, there's no facial reaction to the dialogue. Take Aglaya for example. She is speaking the most rallying words for her people. She wants to rally her people. She's motivating everyone, but her face is the same with this short smile and everything, and it's just the eyebrows are normal, and there's this mismatch that that just takes you out of the immersion, which is not present in Genshin or ZZZ. So I don't know what the Honkai Star Rail devs are doing with their story. I mean, at this point, even Arknights and FGO, which are visual novels, which work with 2D sprites, which do not have the freedom of doing massive stuff in 3D. They're stuck with the background and sprites. Even those create much more immersive stories. I just recently read FGO's Lost Belt 7, which is a main story, which is the final story, and it just feels I wanted to experience it more, even though it's a visual novel style story, but I wanted to experience it more. Same case with Arknight's recent event, which has, the Egyptian style event, and many people know Arknights for its bloat, but still, it did not make me feel bored. It did not make me feel like just get over with the dialogue, please, please, please. With Star Rail's Amphoreus, there were moments where I was like, can we just move on, please? Like, I do not want to listen to it anymore. And I think that's because, there's a conflict in the storytelling department, whether they want to stick with the visual novel style, or whether they want to be an action game, or whether they want to be something like Final Fantasy or something, because it just does not land well. Now, once again, I'm saying that the story is not bad, but the way that they've told this story is just downright horrendous. I don't know, man. I read a lot of books. I can hold my attention. I'm not like those kids on TikTok these days. They don't have the attention span of 10 seconds. If it's not flashy lights and such in 10 seconds, it's boring, it's crap. I can hold my attention. I can, but still it just gets a bit of boring sometimes when you're playing through the game and there's just nothing happening. It's just going from point A to point B to point C. Today, I recently finished ZZZ's latest story, as the Astrayao short story, and those 2 hours of a story felt more immersive and enjoyable to play compared to 8 hours of Amphoreus, where I was just solving puzzles, where I was moving from point A to point B, and where I barely fought enemies. You barely have any scripted fights in the main story, which I feel is a very, very sad thing for an action adventure game, for a game that calls itself a space action RPG sort of game, turn-based action based game. I mean, you have Genshin right here. That game, even though it has a lot of dialogues, I mean, Fontaine was stuffed with dialogues, and I think that's partly why I did not enjoy Fontaine, because it was leaning more into the side of a visual novel story rather than an action game story. So I enjoyed Natlan a lot more, because Natlan had a good balance between story and action, and you had to fight enemies in the middle. With Star Rail, if they're going with the visual novel route, please just make it a visual novel. Then give me beautiful artworks like that one photo of Aglaya. Give me more artworks like that. I do not want to see facial expressions. I like bland facial expressions. I would rather take a 2D artwork. It would really help my imagination a lot more than a black screen or something, or people just standing there. There's another thing. I wish the Star Rail devs actually add more emotions to these characters, make more eye movements, make more facial movements, make more hand movements, because you have, like I said, you have Genshin and ZZZ, and those 2 games are knocking it out of the park right now. Genshin with Natlan has introduced many new changes that I've seen in the main story. Kachina's body language, Molani's body language, Sitlali, Kanich. You see animations in in real time cutscenes that are not present in the game animations. So it's it's unique animations that they designed for these characters, which is nice, which makes the story more immersive. ZZZ is on a whole another level, because their imagination, their animation is out of this world. But Star Rail is lacking behind very, very, they're very, very low. I think they're trying to replicate the FGO formula, where it's minimum effort, maximum profit, because that's what's happening right now. It's minimum effort, barely any effort. The puzzles are very, I don't know, second grade standard type of stuff. It's just very easy. I mean, if you're creating puzzles for a region that is the 3rd region of your game, at least add some complexity to it. At least, like, I mean, even the hardest puzzles don't take more than 5 minutes. I mean, 5 minutes is still a lot of time, but still, it's just boring. It's just, very, I don't know, you don't feel attracted to play. You don't feel the need, the want to continue to the game, to explore the world, because you can just finish it in one sitting and it's over. It's just done and dusted. I wish, you had, I mean, they've done a great job with the open world that they've made. It's very good to explore, but then you have those other problems where, like Stell's memory scene where she remembered the Stellaron hunters, and then for some reason in the Astral Express, because that makes complete sense. Similar case was with Fugue's backstory, where you were in Herta space station for some reason, and then with, like, you with Herta, you're in Bellabog for some reason, and it's just reusing stuff. They're not making anything new. I mean, you have other games. Let's not take Genshin or ZZZ for that matter. Okay, you have other games, Wuthering Waves, FGO. Let's take FGO. They still do unique stuff for the main story. At least for the main story, you can ignore the side quest stuff, you can ignore the events and all, but at least for the main story, they do unique gimmicks that are exclusive to the story, that make them memorable. You do not, like, you have in FGO, you have Kernanos, the boss fight in Lost Belt 6. You have Kernanos, you have Arjun Alter in Lost Belt 4, you have Lancer Artoria in Singularity 6 Camelot. And those fights are memorable because they were unique. They have a unique background, they have a unique music playing, they have unique voice lines, unique skills. Everything is just, memorable. Now take it to Star Rail, where, where Rappa's backstory was in Herta Space Station, Fugue's backstory was in Herta Space Station, the Swarm was in Herta Space Station, Herta's story was in Herta Space Station, and everything just takes place in Herta Space Station, or it's Bellabog, or it's the Cienjo. That's it. There's literally no place where anything feels unique, and that's just very, very sad, and it makes the entire thing forgetful. Like, you don't really pay attention to it. And then there's the bloat, the usual bloat that is there in dialogues, which one cannot avoid. I don't know, man. I mean, it was just 10 hours of complete yapping, yap, this, that, with no conclusion, like no conclusive end. I mean, Finon goes to fight something for the, like, so it's to ignite something, the flame chase and all. Mighty just wishes us good luck and all, and Aglaya is doing her thing, and I don't know what kind of cliffhanger they even left. I mean, there's one cliffhanger where, March is sleeping in 6-phased ice, and even then, you have that small cutscene where Himiko her eyes go wide open, and then you hear something drop, and it's a black screen, and I don't know, man, it just, I wish they had artworks. The world, Amphoreus as a whole, just doesn't feel very unique to me, in spite of, them going bigger, then going larger. Remembrance Path is amazing for the new main character. The new enemies are very unique and very interesting to fight, although it's blatantly, like, it's just made for erudition units and AoE follow-up attack units. It's kind of like, like buffing up remembrance units who have memo sprites who deal AoE damage, or erudition units with follow-up attacks like Jingyuan or Aventurine. Aventurine with this follow-up, like, the shields drop, and Fei Shao, who does, continuous follow-ups if you have Mose or March 7th with her, or Lingsha. So yeah, the enemy is very, it's like it's serving only one category right now. So DOT and Break are out of the window, but the enemies are nice, the designs are cool, the Nikador boss fight was nice, the Herta story was good. The story, like I said, the story is good, but the way that they told it was very, very boring. I mean, I could have concised that entire story in a, like I said, 5 to 6 hour story or 4 to 5 hour story. I mean, you just remove the bloat. You don't need that much of, like, what should I say, tutorial or information. I mean, you walk 2 paces and then you get a tutorial popping up saying, okay, this, and then you walk another 2 paces to your destination, and then the character that you have to meet tells you the exact same thing that the tutorial has told you. And then after that, if by chance you encounter that same thing again, the tutorial again pops up, tell you the exact same thing, and it's like, 3 times you're getting the same information. It just makes no sense, man. Make it like a flowing story. Like, I do not want tutorial pops or random stuff coming up in between. And I think there was one moment during the Fine On or My Day scene where I walked 2 paces and then the screen turned to black and we had dialogue. Then I walked again 2 paces, then again the screen turned to black and then I had dialogue. Then again that happened, and it was continuously just that and that. It's not like there were no scripted fights or anything, which made the scene very, I don't know, boring. And then the last part, yeah, the cutscenes increase the length, man. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I was very, very disappointed with everything that they did in Amphoreus. Everything. Like, first of all, the story didn't resonate with me that well, because they kept on talking about the Titans, the flame chase, and this and that, and my only concern is, why the hell am I stuck on this planet, and how can I go back? That's my only concern. I don't give a crap about these people. But okay, that's how the story rolls. So yeah, but yeah, the story didn't resonate with me yet, so I don't really enjoy it. The world of Amphoreus is good. I really like the Greek references that they've added, and I think that's what's balancing the main story. Apart from that, the puzzles are nice, the remembrance path is nice, enemies are good. I mean, okay to fight. I would hate them when they appear in the Memory of Chaos or Pure Fiction or Apocalyptic Shadow. And after that, the cutscenes, yeah, they were too short. They were too short. Like, like you have 20 seconds of a cutscene and then it's back to dialogue. Then you have another 20 seconds of a cutscene and it's back to dialogue. I mean, you could have cutscene, like, you could have pre-rendered a fight between Maide and Finon were attacking Nikador, or you could have had a cutscene where Aglaya tells us about the past of Amphoreus. That would have been much more immersive and memorable compared to whatever the hell we got from that fountain that told us in 2 different tones, which was honestly boring. And we could have gotten more cutscenes regarding Tribi opening the door, the sentry gate of, I don't know, Castorus. I mean, there were plenty of opportunities that they could have done, but they didn't do, and it just, ruined the entire story for me. And I don't know how they are going to go ahead with this. But that's just my opinion on Amphoreus. I don't really gel with it right now. Maybe that could change in the upcoming patches if, you know, the story improves or they add a lot more stuff. They make the characters more likable. As of right now, I just like Aglaya. That's it. Casterus gives me the same vibes that Firefly gave me, where, you know, she's a tragic character who's meant to become our girlfriend. Mighty is Gilgamesh, let's be honest. So I didn't like Gilgamesh in Fate Stay Night. The only Gilgamesh that I like is Caster Gil from FGO, Lost Singularity 7, Babylona. And that's the only Gil that I will trust. Any other Gilgamesh copy or Gilgamesh is not in my favorite books. Finon is nice. He kind of reminds me of Percival from FGO. But once again, he's hiding a secret, and like the entire story just told us to, like, you know, not trust him immediately, so I'm not trusting him at all. Tribi is a Nahida copy. Like the eyes, the ears, everything just screams Nahida. They just gave Nahida a color palette change and called it a day. So yeah, only Aglaya really fits the list for being the most unique and likable character, even though she is stern. She's a stern ruler. But that's what makes it more interesting, like, you know, that's what makes a character interesting. Apart from the fact that, you know, she is huge. Yeah, but yeah, I hope that this planet improves in the upcoming patches. I've heard that, you know, this patch we're going to get the Fate collab, so I'm excited for that. But right now, Amphoreus hasn't been really great. So yeah, that's just where I will leave it. If I have to give a rating, it'll probably be a 6 or a 7 out of 10. So yeah, that's it. Let me know how you enjoyed Amphoreus, and check out my channel. Please subscribe, and I hope, you know, Amphoreus will improve itself for me and for people who did not like it. So until then, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Keep farming those relics, because and goodbye.